What's up, YouTube? This is Nia Tate. I'm here to do the review for season 8, episode 2 of The Shy. So we are back this week, and we picked up right where we left off with Jake and Reg. Reg is at the house. He's taken over. He got all his thug friends there, and Jake has the gun on him. Now like I said last week, we know Jake is a lover. He is not a fighter. So Reg gets up out of the tub and puts some clothes on, and he's like, "I got an offer for him." See, Jake, that's where you messed up at. That's what you letting him talk too much. Reg is like, "I got a deal for you. I got a bargain for you." And he asks one of his guys. He said, "Let me get your gun," and then he takes the gun and allegedly takes out the bullets. He asked Jake, "Have you ever heard of Russian roulette?" And um, Jake is like, "Man, man, what you talking about?" And he said, "Well, that's the deal. If I take the shot and nothing comes up, then I get to stay." And he said, "Well, what if you the bullet actually comes out?" That's what Jake told him, and he was like, "Well, so." And so I don't know, because later Victor asked Jake, "Are you sure he took the bullets out when he was telling it?" Because Reg is a mess. I don't know if he did or not, but I do feel like Reg really don't care if he live or die, to be honest. So he might have did that. He is such a menace. I can't stand him. So then next, we go to Emmett, and Keisha is at the school with Emmett's son, because last week he got caught at school with a gun. So there's a caseworker that they're talking to, and she told him that he is going to be like kind of like this probation for like a year, and he cannot get in any trouble. He cannot nothing. He has to meet curfew, no drinking, no drugs, no fighting, nothing. And the little boy seems to have a anger issues. So I don't know. I don't know if it's just anger issues, or he maybe a little autistic or something, or delayed, something is going on with him. Because when they were arguing, because the caseworker said, "Well, where did he get the gun?" And Emmett said, "It's mine. I forgot to lock it up." I'm like, Emmett. And Keisha was like looking at him, and Keisha was like, I never wanted that gun in the house. And he's like, "Oh, so it's my fault?" Yes. Yes, Emmett, it's your fault. Okay. He get on my nerves sometimes. I tell you, he has never grown up. So then he can't go back to that school. He's expelled. So now they gotta try to figure out what to do. Um we go to Tiff. Tiff and her mother is having a conversation, and her mom is like, "Look, I want to take whatever I forgot the little boy name, Emmett and Tiff's little boy, because he he's living over there with Emmett and Tiff, because right after she had experienced that the murder of her boyfriend, she asked Tiff to take him if he could go over there and stay with his dad. But I mean, that was temporary, girl. That was months ago. That have to be at least over a year now. Like, Tiff, Tiff is not ready to. I don't know. Y'all know Tiff Wild. So anyway, and she got a new baby. So she was like, her mom, she was like, "No, I don't want you to take him." And the mom was like, uh, no, she said, "Well, what if I say no?" And the mom was like, "Listen, um, she actually talked to Emmett and Tiff. I forgot. Emmett was also there. And so they were both like, "Well, what if we say no?" She said, "Listen, I don't want to take y'all to court, but I will." Because she's like, Emmett was trying to say, like, "Well, we good parents. We doing what we supposed to." She said, "Didn't your child just show up at school with a gun?" And he's like, "What do they got to do with it?" Y'all got too much going on in it. So, I mean, if she wants to raise a little boy, she's like, "I just don't want to see him in trouble." She don't like Nook, and she didn't say, but she know that Nook is a dealer, and he ain't the type of person, you know, to be around. And Tiffany go with the wind, so So later on, they meet up. It was Tiffany and Nook and Keisha and Emmett. And so Emmett was like, "What are you doing here?" And she gonna say, "Well, if Tiff could be here, he could be here." No, not really, Keisha. No, she said if Keisha could be here, Nook could be here. No, Tiff, not really, because Keisha has been raising your son. Nook is your boy toy at the moment. Okay, that don't equal, but they just left it alone. So they finally came to the consensus and the reality that it would be best for the mom to take him because she could give him the attention he needs and he loves his grandma and I mean both of them. Emmett has too much going on in his house, and then she is not settled, where she is. So later on, they had a little discussion. This was really good. Emmett talked to his dad because even though they came to the consensus that the mom could take him, they both are kind of feeling bad about it, rightly so, because they feel like, dang, that's our child. You know, I kind of like, am I a bad parent? So that's what Emmett asked his dad. He's like, am I a bad parent? His dad said, I don't know. Am I a bad parent? So him and his dad had real discussion, and the dad was telling him. He said, when I know I I did the best I could, but I know I was I was wild when I was younger, and I wasn't focused, and I'm glad that I wasn't in your life because you know I'm sorry that I wasn't in your life, but trust me, you were better off because I was just all over the place. And Emmett was like, I kind of feel that I was the same way when Tiff and I got together. We were young, and we were both just wild, and we didn't we didn't know what we were doing. And so um the dad apologized to him and he said, I never said this, but I'm sorry, Emmett, for not being there for you. And he said, I accept your apology. And the dad said, this is the thing, your main focus is to make sure that that child is happy and well taken care of and loved. And if the grandmother can do that for him, then it is that's what it is. And so I like their talks together because they keep it 100. And it's crazy because Emmett is so much like his daddy. His dad had a bunch of kids. Where's the little brother at? He ain't come back this season. He was kind of annoying, but I ain't seen him. They don't even mention him. So next up we go. Nook goes see this guy. We never seen him before. He's a new person on the show. At least I don't remember him. But he is somebody that, and he might have been on there seasons ago, maybe I don't know. But Nook grew up with him, and they ran together when they were both young, working for Duda. And so Nook went to see him and, to offer him a job because he said, I need somebody I could trust. Because Jabari, Nook had a discussion with Jabari. And since that young guy started asking questions last week about him pillow talking Jabari, now it kind of got Nook thinking. And so Nook asked him about his book. He said, what's up with your book? And Jabari said, nobody bought it. It came out, but nobody bought it. And so Nook was like, you ain't mentioning no names in there, no, times and dates and all this other stuff. And he was like, nah. He said, so Nook was like, you ain't pillow talking either. And he didn't mention the girlfriend, but that's what he meant. And Jabari was like, oh, are you? No, I'm not pillow talking, but are you? He said, no, Tiff don't know. Tiff only knows what I need her to know. And Jabari said, I bet you she don't know that you killed her baby's father. And he said she don't need, and she better not find out, and she don't need to know. And he said, I promise I ain't told nobody, but he did tell his girlfriend. He did tell her. So I think at some point, um, he said, yeah, you better not be lying. He said, why would I lie to you? And Nook said, because you know I will kill you. And Jabari's like, you wouldn't kill me. And he just looked at him like, Jabari, I hope you do know that Nook is Nook will kill you, baby, for real. So it's kind of like, he's kind of questioning, Nook is kind of questioning Jabari now. So he's trying to kind of build up, I guess, some other people. Because I don't know where all their crew went. due to people, I don't know where they at, but anyway, so when he goes see the guy was like, nah, man, he's actually a janitor at some place. And so Nook was like, yeah, I need you. I need somebody I could trust. And he's like, nah, man, I've been to prison already. I'm not trying to go back. And he's like, my guys don't go. Listen, my guys don't go to prison. He said, you can't promise that. And he said, well, just think about it. So that same dude that we don't know, I don't know his name. I'll have it next week because it's like he gonna be a part of the show. He went to he was at home chilling with his girlfriend, and he go with some bird, and she started talking about she's like, is this all we gonna do? Like we just sitting there watching TV. Like I want to go out. I want to do things. And she's like, he's like, listen, all the bills is paid. I'm taking care. She said, but I want more than that. My baby daddy living better than this, and I'm thinking about going back to him. And he's like, are you serious? And she said, yeah. And so she gets up and walks out. So now that got him thinking, like, dang, I'm over here doing all the right stuff, but I ain't making no money. So I don't know if he gonna try to do that to impress the girl, or she just gonna went back to her baby's father. But later on, we see him go to Nook and agree to work for him, and then they go see this other dude. I don't know who he is, but he's somebody that used to work with Reg, and so they gonna use him for security. So now it's like Nook building his crew up. So because Reg got a bunch of dudes over there and a couple of girls, they have guns and everything. So next up we see Reg and Jake. Well, Jake. No, we see Jake with Jabari and with the other little guy, the preacher's kid. And he said, Jake told me, look, I'm having an event because Jake throws parties. He's like an event thrower. And he's like, yeah, I got a party tomorrow night. I need y'all to help. I need y'all help. And he's like, Jabari, I need you to watch the door, and I need I can't remember his name. I need you to do the social media for me. So then later we see No Good Reg sitting there looking on social media. I guess he's looking at Jake page, and he see that he having a party that next night. And of course he gonna go over there and crash because he want to use it to sell his evils in. And he does that. He goes over there, and at first the bouncer was like, "You're not on the list. Who are you?" And so he's like, I'm his brother. You know, Red's got nasty attitudes. And so he see Jabari at the corner's eye. He say, "Hey, go tell my brother I'm out here." And when Jabari go tell Jake is like, "Oh Lord, I don't want him here." And he said, "Well, then don't let him in." He said, "No, it's just gonna make it worse." He said, "How many you got with him?" He said, "About five." He said, "Damn." So he go to the door and he let him in. So while he in there, it's a nice little event. Everybody getting along fine. The music is going, the DJ. But Jake is sitting there looking, observing, and he see they selling. They selling, he seen the exchange that's going on. So he go over there and he tell Reg, you can't do that in here. And Reg's like, man, get out of my face. Get out of my face. And so then the security get Reg and throw him out of there. So I guess that's gonna be a big mess. But also Reg is a man. I'm like, Jake, you need to set Reg up. Like you can't set something up in the house and call the police or something. He got to go. Okay. He has got to go. Um, and also a little side note, one of Jabari's little girlfriend, some chick she know, she's a social media influencer. Her and Jake was making eyes. And Jake's so cute, but he is a little lover. He is not a fighter. So she was like, yeah, you can call me. So I guess that's gonna be his little boo thing. So yeah, so that ended with them. Next up, um Emmett and Keisha. Well, Emmett back up. Keisha and Emmett's dad's girlfriend. I think her name is Veronica, something like that. That's Tasha Mack. She's Tasha Mack, the one that played on the game. She played that role. She lived. They living over there with Emmett because Emmett's dad say the pipes or something busted in the house. But reality is he really don't want to go back to that house right now because he still miss and still hurt over Emmett's mama dying and passing away. And so anyway, We gonna call her Vivica, Veronica. I don't know. Anyway, she asked Keisha. She said, "Well, are y'all thinking about getting married?" And she said, "Well, it didn't ask me, but I said no at the time." And she said, "Well, you might want to think about it because it might. That'll probably look good with the social worker because since y'all had another boy." And then so Keisha was like, "That's not the only reason I want to get married." She said, "Of course not, but I'm just saying, it wouldn't hurt to think about it." And so Keisha's like, "Well, I'm trying to find a school for a little boy, and nobody wants to take him, and all the ones that want to take him, they so far away." And so she told her, "Well, aren't you a teacher? You a teacher, right? Because y'all remember she was a teacher, and then she stopped when she started having those kids." And she said, "I am." She said, "But why don't you teach him?" And you know that was in his mother's dream for her. She told her that she wanted to see her, teach before she passed away. When she was passing away, she was telling her to, always, fulfill her dreams and that she had a gift to teach and that she needed to use it. So she's like, I don't know. I don't know if that could work out. She said, well, you could just, at least you could try. So then Emmett and Keisha sit down with the little boy and they tell him that she's going to teach him. And he's very open to it. I think he's a good kid. He just, man, them schools in Chicago are rough, and I don't think it's all his fault. So he's excited. He said, "Will I be able to have, my, friends over? Will I be able to see my friends?" And they said, "Yeah, but they got to come over here." And like, "We don't want you just in house on the phone either." And he's like, "Well, what else we supposed to do?" They said, "Talk to each other." And it was like, "Go outside and play." He said, "It's too cold outside." And he said, "Boy, you from Chicago? From Chicago? You better get used to it." And he was like, "All right." So that'll be good. I'm glad that Keisha is getting a chance to use, her teaching skills and like she told the little boy, "I'm a little rusty." It's gonna be kind of a learning curve together. So very good. So next up we see Tiff and her mom are having a conversation after she told her she could keep the little boy. And then Tiffany's like, "I'm jealous." And she said, "Why are you jealous?" She said, You never gave me as much attention as you gave him." And she said, "That's because I was working all the time." She said, "When you were growing up, I was working. I was trying to pay the bills, keep a roof over our head." And um, Tiff was like, "Yeah, I know, but it just made me feel all alone. And I was just looking for attention, and it gave it to me. And I thought, once I have a baby, that he would never leave me." And the mama said, "I could have told you better than that." Girl, we could have told you that, honey. No, ma'am. So next we see Tiff and Nook. Um, oh, let me tell you about this part. This part, Victor. Victor's old girlfriend um came to see him. She came to the jail because he's still in jail, and she came to see him. And you could see that they still care for each other. And she asked him if he's seeing anybody, and he said no. And he asked her if she said no somebody. She said no. Y'all know she's trans, right? So after she leave, a whole bunch of the dudes, he was going back to his cell, and a whole bunch of dudes, they jumped him, and it's like, "Oh, we see who came to visit you." What they do that for, baby? Victor, because you could see Victor is like, now he was in the cell with Rashad earlier before the young lady that came visit him, and he was like, they wanted me to turn on you, right? And he's like, "Man," Rashad was like, "Don't, my lawyer, she gonna figure it out." He said she working overtime. She and he do have a good lawyer. And Victor's like, where you find her at?" And I don't know. He said, I forgot what he said, but he's like, she loved to solve, tough cases. And she's something else. And so Victor was like, He said, "What?" Rashad was like, "What?" He said, "Man, you cannot sleep with your lawyer." He said, I don't know what you're talking about." He said, "Nah, I've seen that look before." He said, "Nah, I just think that she really about, trying to help and she gonna get us out of here." So in the background, she is working the lawyer. She went and found the girl that Rashad was really with. Y'all remember her last season? And she had lied and said that he wasn't with her. But she found her and she went talk to the lawyer, and she got her to admit that he was with her. And she said that Rosalind paid her to say that he wasn't. And y'all know who Rosalind is, right? That's Duda's wife, who is Candy Burris. So she's supposed to write a statement and saying that he was with her. And then the lawyer, that attorney, she working, baby. And I think her and Rashad are gonna end up together. Um, she went to the hospital to try to get some footage of where Victor was there with Tiff, and what time he left. And so the girl that worked there, she's like, "Girl, you're gonna get me fired." She said, I just need access to the tape. And she's like, "That's a lot of footage you're gonna have to look over that night because there's so many people in and out of here." But honey, she sat down and she looked at their tape frame by frame and she found him. And so the time he left, he couldn't have done it. So now she goes to one of the judges, for this lady that's friends with the judge that's over the case. And she's like, "I need you to talk to him because I need to get this reopened because I have proof that neither one of these guys were there." And so she said, "Well, who did kill Alicia?" And she said, "I don't know." She said, "I'm gonna need you to give me something." And she said, "Well, she told her about uh Candace's character paying the woman that said that she wasn't with Rashad. So now the problem is Victor, after they got in that, when them guys jumped him, Victor, you could see he was like his hair all disheveled. He depressed, and I don't blame him because he probably trying to figure out like we are. How the hell am I in prison and Reg is outside? This don't make no sense. So he looked like he real depressed, especially after they tried to make him turn on Rashad. But he full of anger and rage, and baby, them guys jumped on him, and I don't know why they did that because he beat the devil out of one of them dudes. I hope he didn't kill him, but he was beating him. He was really beating him, and the COs pulled him off. So I know he in the what you call it, in solitaire. So I hope they don't mess up his case because now she trying to get y'all out, and now this did happen. So I don't know. I hope he get out of there. And next we see Tiff and look, she wants to go, um, she wants to learn how to shoot. Tiff told him, I need you to teach me how to shoot. And he's like, "For what?" She said, "I wanna." He said, "For what? I'll always be here to protect you." She said, "No, I want to protect myself." So they went on down to the shooting range, honey. And I'm gonna tell you one thing about Nook. Nook is no good. I can't stand him, but he good looking. Oh, he fine. And when him and Tiff was up there, he was showing her how to shoot because he took her to the range and she shot. He's like, "You're terrible." She said, "Well, I know. I need you to teach me." And he said, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna teach you." And he took her hand and he showed her. Ooh, honey, it was a good little scene there. I was like, "Ooh," but you know what I think gonna happen? I think Tip gonna be the one that's gonna kill Nickel. Because she's gonna find out some kind of way. This series cannot end without her knowing that. So I think she's gonna be the one. I'm making you shoot. You teaching her how to shoot, and I think she's gonna be the one to take you out. It's either gonna be him or Jabari. It's either gonna be him or Jabari that's gonna take Nook out. He's gonna go, but I just don't know when. So that's about it. I think that's everything. It was a really good episode. I give this episode I'm gonna give it an A- because it was really good. Everything flowed really well. I just love the shot, and once again I know this is the last season, and uh, I'm gonna miss the show so much. I really appreciate you guys listening into my review, and I will be right back here next week with episode 3. Have a great afternoon.